just sharing a funny laugh with Shannon. So I got cousins all over the place like you guys do too. And he lives in New Jersey, and he's at the Sixers Bulls game, and he sent me a picture of himself. He was like, I'm repping the Kings at with the Kings get at the Philly Bulls game. His name is Reese, but I need to get on because it's kind of low key. I don't know if you guys can see this. He got a freaking jacket on covering the shirt. So that's not really repping the Kings. You know what I'm saying? If you're repping the Kings, you walking out without a jacket and a big Kings logo like on the TV or on that thing right there. So
I was gonna say, you said he's a jacket.
it's cold in the arena.
Oh, he's trying to get gear, bro.
We're trying to get gear.
That's what he's doing. Like, look, I don't have, like, logos aren't big enough. I need something else from the coach.
Why is his eyes closed?
So I told, since it's legal, I mean, I don't do it, but I told this to Shannon. I said, it looked like he might have smoked a little something. I said, my cousin's eyes was like this. I'm like, I can't even see the pupil. What is it? The little pupil? The pupil. I can't see the pupil.
Should need the jacket.
He got the jacket on and his eyes is, oof, okay. Sorry.
No further questions.
Okay, no further questions, okay.
Gotta send this video to your cousin.
What's that?
You gotta send the video to your cousin now.
Oh, yeah, because he got to represent a little bit better. But the arena is cold, Ken. You're right. You're right. I do remember that. So okay.
That's called half mast.
Okay, half mast. I like it.
De'Aaron Fox is playing tonight. Just what went into that decision, and how close to 100% is he?
I think he's 100%, and you know what it is basically he's got to get cleared medically first. And there's, even if he really wanted to play, if he didn't get cleared medically, he wouldn't be allowed to play. And then he has to feel up to it too, and then I'll okay it last, and 99.9% of the time I'm gonna okay it if he's cleared medically and the player feels okay, and especially if it hadn't been a long time since he's practiced or done anything, but it hasn't. So that's kind of how it goes. And there's like no minute restrictions or anything like that on it. Nobody said that he was still being bothered by his shoulder or anything like that.
Mike, I was curious after Keegan's career night the other night. Is there happen to be like a hangover effect from that, where obviously his teammates take they're amused obviously by just his demeanor in general, just like we are in the media. But is it something that carries over? Does that kind of trickle into days after? Or is it kind of well, that happened and you move on?
That's a good question. I think it's just different situations. It's not necessarily the same all the time. His teammates were really, really proud of him. They felt good about it for him, and I know he did too. But everybody knows it's still there, but it's not anything that I think will linger, because at the end of the day, now is he capable of hitting his first 11? I mean, that's going to be a tough feat to try to overcome again. But he can shoot the piss out the ball. Excuse me for saying I don't even like to say that, but he can really shoot the ball, and there are going to be games when he has games like this, especially as he gets deeper into his career. So I don't know. I don't know.
Before I ask my question,
What's up, man?
Mike Brown press conferences in Sacramento are completely different than they were in Cleveland. You've evolved.
Well,
You've done a great job.
Thank you very much. I was 35 when I got the job. I was 35. I was scared. I was scared like everybody else. And I got a grandson now.
Good to see you, my friend.
You too.
For those of us that don't see Keegan every day, but I'm curious from a coaching perspective, when someone is going like that from the three-point line, are you calling sets, or you're just keep shooting it until you miss?
Mainly and not only that, our team is so connected that they found ways to give the ball, and we're really big at spread the floor in transition, get to the corners if you're not bringing the ball to the floor, And he got a couple of threes just running the floor and putting his head down and running the floor hard in transition. There wasn't a play called, nobody set him up. They just know if somebody's open ahead, throw it, and if you're open, let the thing fly. And so, after a timeout, I think I might have called one play for him or something like that. But in general, I don't like to call plays. We have concepts that we taught our guys. We have some basic actions that have counters or options for our guys based on where they want to go and or where the ball goes. And so they just flow. And they ended up finding him, and good synergy, connectivity, ball's gonna find you, and that's how it happened.
Mike, there's just a lot of interesting and fun kind of friendly rivalries on this team, especially between De'Aaron Fox and Keegan. There's many that believe that Fox is probably going to try a little bit for 48 tonight just to stick it to Keegan a little bit. But what's your perspective on kind of those friendly rivalries that happen amongst teammates and just whether you've seen around your career or how it helps a team or brings a team closer together?
I think it's right there. It brings teams closer together to be able to kind of talk smack and have something that they can go back and forth on. Not only that, to see who can have a better dunk the next time or whatever it may be. That's always good stuff because the season's long. We're around each other all the time, more than our families it seems, especially with us going on these long road trips. And so to be able to jab one another and know that it's not personal, and everybody, include myself, players make fun of me, my coaches make fun of me, the fans boo me. So it's across the board, but to be able to take stuff in stride and not take it personal while staying connected and together is big, and stuff like that does help out.
Mike, you talked about family before the conference here. Your dad was in last time.
Yes.
First time here.
Yep.
Just curious what he told you, what he thought, and did he say anything about you getting booed? Because you mentioned that too. Did he have anything to say about that? Taking out Keegan.
I mean, he loves Keegan, and him, and I got another buddy of mine who was really neat. His name's Arash, but he brought his dad to the last game as well, and he showed me a picture. The last time he brought his dad to a game at Arco in 2014, and they stood and they took the picture together with the court in the background during the game. They did the same thing, and he showed me two pictures side by side, and it was just a neat picture to see. But both of them, during the course of the game, they were both into the chants with the Keegan Murray. My dad's 80-something, his dad's 70-something, and so it would have been fun to see, two old guys up there, Keegan Murray, during the course of the game. But my dad, he's just excited for me. I mean, the thing he was most excited about that night is sitting in here, because apparently, and my mom told me this, I gave you guys the YouTube story about Keegan. He literally goes to YouTube to look for every press conference, and he's like, "That's the room you sit in. That was so fun." And I was like, "Really? Okay." So he really enjoyed being in here. He's back again tonight. He'll be here for a couple more games, but that's the main thing he said to me, and that's the most fun he had, was sitting in here watching.
Mike, obviously you've known Wes for a very long time. I'm just wondering how you've seen him develop in year 3, especially now that he's got a different roster, kind of a little bit of a different task ahead of him.
You could just see I love his demeanor on the sidelines. He never seems to get too high, never seems to get too low. It's crazy. There might be a lot of people out there that say, "Oh man, you gotta get animated and this, and you gotta jump and get in their face." And at the end of the day, you're coaching grown-ups, you're coaching adults, and so there's a time and place for that. But during the game, and I try hard not to get too high or too low. I even have sometimes our sports psychologists watch my body language because I can drop my head or drop my shoulders at times, and I don't want to do that because it can impact the way that these guys feel during the game. You do all your teaching and yelling and all that other stuff prior to the game. During the game, it's their time, and you just got to try to help them as best you can to get a win. And so you could see for a young coach his maturity level just by his demeanor on the sideline, and it's gotten better and better every year. And, you could see some of the stuff that they're trying to do out on the floor and tweaks here, tweaks there. He's a really, really good young coach. When I say young, I'm talking about not a years as been a head coach, but, and I hope he gets an opportunity here for a long time because he definitely deserves it.
You get a chance to watch any Keegan post-ups?
No, not yet. I'm still debating that one. It's an internal battle that I'm having with myself right now.
Mike, you realize your Keegan impression has a little Steve Urkel in it?
Hey, that's not my fault.
Oh, man.
I know you've talked about this a little bit, but the off-season work with Keegan and De'Aaron, how much do you think that just that one-on-one stuff like helped Keegan to be able to kind of expand what he's able to do defensively and spread out in terms of guarding multiple positions?
A lot. I said before with Foxy, he's the fastest guy in this league, especially with basketball in his hands. And so for Keegan to have to try to step slide to stay in front of him when they're playing one-on-one as much as they did in the summertime, he probably goes into the game and he's like, hey, okay, I can step slide with you because I guarded somebody quicker all summer. On top of that, Fox's strength is underrated. He's a strong, he's wiry, strong. He's been around a long time. He knows all the tricks, and so for Keegan to have to go through that day in and day out in the summertime, it definitely helped him take leaps quicker to become the defender that he is now. Instead of him not being able to experience something like that with an MVP caliber type player. And, he's only going to get better. Fox's leadership is getting better, and I see them continuing doing it going forward. The only thing Keegan's got to worry about is to find time to babysit Rain. That's it. Payback. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Hope.